The voice of Pan-Africanism. I'm Bina Butanabudunus. Here now the top stories making the headline. Preliminary preparations underway for the reconstruction of health infrastructure in war-torn regions. And Rwanda announced visa-free travel to Africans. Welcome back once again. You're watching ABC World. Now the news in full. Do stay tuned. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, chaired by Deputy Prime Minister Demeke Mekonnen, held its regular meeting. The council deliberated on a roadmap to build Ethiopia's national capacity to respond to disaster risks. The meeting is also expected to discuss current humanitarian support. Meanwhile, Ethiopia's risk and catastrophe position, issues and directions are anticipated to be reviewed by the Council following the provision of aid to 7.3 million victims of drought and conflict. The government has intensified efforts to expand the supply of humanitarian assistance. The U.S. Agency for International Development has launched a 5-year urban wash and climate resilience projects in Ethiopia worth $90 million USD. The urban wash projects are expected to provide construction and technical support to improve access to wash services in 10 secondary cities. Meanwhile, the climate resilient wash project will provide similar services to underserved rural population in Afar, Oromia, South and Central Ethiopia and Somali states. In other development, the World Bank and the Ethiopian government have completed a joint country portfolio performance review to assess the progress of ongoing projects supported by the bank. The meeting involved over 117 participants, including World Bank officials, ministers and state ministers, as well as staff of projects implementing units. The review is aimed to identify implementation challenges and address issues affecting the portfolio performance. The World Bank and Ethiopian government have agreed on a set of actions to improve the portfolio's performance, addressing cross-cutting issues such as fiduciary, procurement and safeguards. In continuance, Ethiopia pledged to press ahead with continued prioritization of healthcare and the importance of healthy citizens for a productive society. This came at the 25th Annual Health Conference here in the capital, Addis Ababa, that brought over 500 participants, including government officials, health associations, universities, and donor groups. Addressing the conference, Mayor of Addis Ababa, Adanecha Abebe, reiterated the government's commitment in this regard. For her part, Health Minister Lia Tadesse unveiled a new 3-year plan to make universal health services accessible nationwide. Diplomat partners also confirmed rapid growth in Ethiopia's health, financing and private sector involvement.
Mercy tribe of southern Ethiopia. እምነት አልባነት ምስሉ ተሸጎረ አይውሻ
Oh, and there it is. Wow, that's
Once again, you're watching ABC World. The news continues. The Ministry of Health announced that preliminary preparation for the reconstruction of health infrastructure destroyed by war have been completed. The 2-year-long brutal war in the northern part of the country caused massive destruction. Over $1 million has been allocated for the reconstruction of damaged health facilities. Johannes Fantaun has compiled the full story. Take a look.
It is exactly 1 year since a deal in Pretoria, South Africa ended the war between the federal government and the TPLF. Hostilities that lasted 2 years destroyed health infrastructures, apart from the gruesome scares they left in every aspect of public life.
You know, the years before, it's not only for Ethiopia, but all over the world, as you know, because of the climate change and other factors affecting the health system. We are really witnessing an increment in some of the communicable diseases, especially malaria, and because of conflict-related factors, again, the whole system is again being affected. That leads to, you know, in disruption of some of our existing health system, and that's really a challenge, a threat to our performance.
The state minister said that the Ethiopian government, along with its partners, has been working to restore health facilities to their full capacity, adding reconstruction plan for health facilities to be restored to their pre-war capacity. Even more has been completed and is currently in the bidding process.
In collaboration with our partners, especially World Bank, we are in a bid process to renovate most of these facilities. So it's already in process. Once we finish the bid process, then the rehabilitation will be, you know, not only to bring them back to where they were, but it is better than before they were.
The Ministry of Health has announced that the number of people affected by infectious disease in Ethiopia has shot up over the last 2 years, the main reasons for being climate change and war.
Finally, Rwanda announced it will allow Africans to travel visa-free to the country, becoming the latest nation on the continent to announce such measure aimed at boosting free movement of people and trade to rival Europe's Schengen zone. Tigist Nisa has compiled the following story.
Rwanda announced Thursday that it will allow Africans to travel visa-free to the country, becoming the latest nation on the continent to announce such a measure aimed at boosting free movement of people and trade to rival Europe's Schengen zone. President Paul Kagame made the announcement in the Rwandan capital, Kigali, where he pitched the potential of Africa as a unified tourism destination for a continent that still relies on 60% of its tourists from outside of Africa, according to the data from the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. Once implemented, Rwanda will become the first African country to remove travel restrictions for Africans. Other countries that have waived visas to African nationals are Gambia, Benin, and Seychelles. Kenyan President William Ruto announced on Monday plans to allow all Africans to travel to the East African nation visa-free by December 31. The African Union in 2016 launched an African passport with much fanfare, saying it would rival the European Union model in unleashing the potential of the continent. However, only diplomats and AU officials have been issued the travel document so far. The African passport and free movement of people is aimed at removing restrictions on Africans' ability to travel, work, and live within their continent, the African Union says on its website. AU also launches the African Continental Free Trade Area, a continent-wide free trade area estimated to be worth $3.4 trillion, which aims to create a single unified market for the continent's 1.3 billion people and to boost economic development.
Thank you for being with us. Have a lovely time. Goodbye from me now.